Hi everyone, and welcome to Geometry Lessons 3.1 and 3.2. We're talking about lines and angles formed by parallel lines and transversals. I always combine these lessons because they're all ideas that you've seen in the past. So let's start with the terms that you had to define for your homework. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect but are on the same plane. So you'll notice over here, EF and AB are on the same plane, the top of the box, and they have these little arrow symbols on them. Those arrow symbols mean parallel. So they are parallel lines. Now notice we have more arrow symbols down here. These two lines are parallel to each other, but they are not parallel to the other two lines I named earlier because they cross here and here. So these two are parallel to each other. These two are parallel to each other. We cannot assume that BD is also parallel to FH. There is no parallel symbol there. We can't assume that it's there. So just be careful about that. It looks parallel, but we don't know that it actually is. Now, for perpendicular lines, we use this upside down T symbol. That means perpendicular. They intersect at 90 degrees. Now, again, you can't assume. So wherever they put the right angle symbol, you know that the lines are perpendicular. If they haven't put a right angle symbol, you cannot assume that. So we know that AB is perpendicular to AE because they put the perpendicular symbol here. And then EG is perpendicular to GH because they had the other symbol there. Now, skew lines are lines that are not coplanar, but they still don't intersect. So like EG is on this front plane here, and BF is kind of on this plane here. They are not on the same plane. BF is never going to touch EG. So they're not on the same plane, and they're never going to touch. Parallel lines have to be on the same plane. Okay. Next, parallel planes are planes that never touch. So like the front plane here is parallel to the back plane here, or they said plane ABE is parallel to plane CDG. Okay, so they're planes that never touch. Let's take a look at an example where we had to identify these things in a picture. In this picture, we need to identify each of the following types of lines or line segments. So they want us to identify a pair of parallel segments, a pair of skew segments, a pair of perpendicular segments, and a pair of parallel planes. We're going to do this together because there are many options for your answers. So if you tried to do it on your own, you might get a different answer than I did, but that's okay. So parallel segments, oops, there it is. I had KN is parallel to PS. Notice they each have this one arrow symbol here. So I know that they are parallel to each other. Notice the notation. Earlier we had lines where they had arrows on each end here. These are line segments. Okay, so KN is parallel to PS. That's the one I used. And notice I used a parallel symbol there. We don't actually have a symbol for skew segments, but I do know that LM right here is going to be skew to RS down here, because they're never going to touch. LM is all the way up here going in this direction. RS is down here going in that direction. Next, for perpendicular segments, I picked MR right here with RS over here. Notice the right angle symbol right there. So MR is perpendicular to RS. And finally, the parallel planes, I picked KPS, this one on the back here, and LQR, the one on the side over here. They're parallel planes. So now you're going to try it with a check it out question. This goes on a Google Doc that you will turn in as your classwork for today. So make sure you write it down and turn it in. Now, if you don't want to do it on a Google Doc and you want to write it out, that's okay. You can turn in a picture. It's just easier for me to make comments on a Google Doc. But I know you can't get the line symbol, so you'll have to write the word line or line segment. So whatever is better for you. Anyway, in this picture, identify a pair of parallel segments, a pair of skew segments, a pair of perpendicular segments, and a pair of parallel planes. So pause the video, do that, and then come back to learn about some more terms. The first term I have for you is a transversal. This is any line that crosses at least two different lines. Okay, so this is a transversal. It was normally labeled T, but it lost the T in translation. And then this is line R and line S here. Okay, so T is the transversal because it touches at least two other lines. The next term is corresponding angles. These are angles that we say are in the same general position. So they're going to be on the same side of the transversal. So like all of these over here have the possibility of being corresponding, but they're also both going to be on the same sides of the lines that the transversal intersects. So like 1 and 5 are corresponding, because if I took this intersection and I slid it up, the 5 would be on top of the 1. So 1 and 5 are corresponding, and 3 is corresponding to 7, 2 corresponds to 6, and 4 corresponds to 8. Okay, 2 and 6 because they're both on the right side and they're both above a line. 4 and 8 because they're both on the right side and they're below a line. Those are corresponding angles. Alternate interior angles. Notice the interior is between the two lines that are intersected. And alternate means on opposite sides of the transversal. So 4 and 5 and 3 and 6 are alternate interior angles. Alternate exterior angles are in the exterior. See these blue areas, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So we have 2 and 7 or 1 and 8. And same side interior angles are inside and on the same side of the transversal. So 3 and 5 or 4 and 6. So those are your more terms. Now let's take a look at an example. It says use the picture to give an example of each angle pair. They want corresponding angles, alternate interior, alternate exterior, and same side interior. Don't forget when you write them to write your angle symbols. We're going to do this one together, and then you have a check it out question to work on yourself. So corresponding angles, I'm going to look at the left side of the transversal first. Here's the transversal. These are the lines it crosses. So on the left side, we have these numbers right here. Now, the 1 is above the line, so it's 1 and 5. And then 4 and 8 are both below the line. Okay, so 1 and 5 are corresponding, and then 4 and 8 are also corresponding. Notice on the right side, we have 2 is above, and so is 6, so 2 and 6, and then 3 and 7. So those are all the pairs of corresponding angles you could name. Alternate interior angles, the interior is between the two lines. That's this area right here. Alternate would be opposite sides of the transversal, so 4 and 6, or 3 and 5. For alternate exterior angles, that's the 1 and 2 up here, and the 8 and 7 down here, but they need to be alternate. Notice it's 1 and 7 are alternate, 2 and 8 are alternate. Now, one thing that you might not have noticed is that I'm always picking one angle from the bottom group of numbers and one angle from the top group of numbers, and I'm pairing them up. So you're always going to have one thing from this section and one thing from this intersection. Now finally, same side interior angles. So finally we have same side interior angles. So the interior again is going to be between the lines, and same side would be the ones that are both on the left or both on the right. So 4 and 5 or 3 and 6. Now just be careful. Sometimes they're going to rotate this picture and the transversals are going to be like vertical. The lines that the transversal touches are going to be vertical. So just be careful. And you have a check it out question coming next, and they did that. So try the check it out question, put it on what you're going to submit, and then press play to see a little bit more. In check it out 2, they gave you this picture, and they want you to find all of these different types of angles. So write that down, and then see what I have for you next. We have one more example and one more check it out question. In this example, we're asked to identify the transversal and classify the angle pairs. So the transversal is going to be the line that actually touches both angles. So first find the angles they gave, 1 and 5. That's this angle here and this angle here. And the line that touches both of them is this one, because see, it makes this side of angle 1 and then it makes this side of angle 5. Okay, so this is the transversal, the line that touches both of them, that's N. And then notice, these would be the lines that they are between, so they're interior angles, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So they are alternate interior angles. So the transversal is line N, alternate interior angles. Let's do another one. We had 3 and 6. 3 is here, and 6 is here. This line right here touches both 3 and 6, and that is line M. It makes this side of angle 3 and this side of angle 6. So line M is the transversal, and then notice, this is an interior angle. It's between the two lines that are intersected. This is an exterior angle, and they're both on the same side. Surprisingly, these are not same side mixed. Okay, these are corresponding. If I slide this up to this intersection, the 6 will be on top of the 3. They are corresponding angles. So the transversal is M, and they are corresponding angles. Now, the last pair, 1 and 4. 1 is here, 4 is here. Line L is the line that makes both angles. It touches angle 1 here, touches angle 4 right here. So line L is our transversal. Notice they're on opposite sides of L, so they're alternate, and they are outside the lines that are touching line L. So these are alternate exterior angles because they're outside. So line L, alternate exterior angles. So you just have a check it out question about this. Check it out number 3 asks you to identify the transversal and classify the angle pair. Notice it's the same picture, but this time you have 2 and 5. Now that's it for this video. Don't forget to write this on your response questions. And then there is one more video to watch with this lesson. So don't forget to watch that. I'll see you soon. Bye.